Hello, 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 Islanders, and welcome to, I guess, the second official, yeah, sure, whatever. Welcome to The Tribe is Broken. This is your weekly, sort of, not this week, though, but your weekly Survivor Season 41 recap podcast. I am one of your hosts. I am Koopa, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, Shannon. Shannon, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, everybody. Lots to talk about this season. Super interesting people. Kind of funny to watch some of our predictions come true and some people surprise us. So I'm excited to talk about that.
Yeah, so just as a context thing, we are going to be talking about two episodes of Survivor for our inaugural real first episode here. If you guys have tuned into the special preview episode that I posted on the Cooped Up feeds, me and Shannon go into depth of our character discussions and take a look at the castaways and so on and so forth. And now we actually get to talk about like real Survivor instead of us, making up narratives in our head, kind of
Yeah.
grasping at straws at what people, may or may not play like once it actually comes down to the actual whole game of the thing. And yeah, we did we are again a week behind of the premiere, but we're busy. We're busy people. Me and Shannon
Yeah.
yeah, me and Shannon have had a lot of things going on, so
For those who don't know, we're both in the Smash community. We just had Glitch this past weekend. Everything was really crazy with that, but we finally found a time. And as I was saying to you, Koopa, episode one of any Survivor season is just kind of like, hey, here are people. This is kind of how the season's going to go. There's not very much to discuss other than, I guess, the early outs. Because every episode of Survivor, the premiere episode, is just kind of like, well, here's your people, this is what we're doing. And there's not a lot of alliance discussion, there's not a lot of scheming. It's pretty vanilla compared to the rest of the season, but I promise this premiere was actually pretty exciting.
yeah, I totally agree. And so we're gonna talk about everything that happens going on. So again, this is gonna be your spoiler warning, vocally, and maybe I'll put a little prompt up on the video portion of the feed. We are going to be spoiling the first two episodes of Survivor 41. So if you have not watched it, go check it out. It is all available now on Paramount Plus, which is again slowly creeping up the list of one of my favorite streaming services that I use like constantly.
They have a lot of good shows, and I was saying actually how I watch Survivor. If you're one of those people that don't have cable, don't see the need for cable like me, if you subscribe to Paramount Plus, I believe it's their premium plan, it's $10 a month. You could actually watch Survivor live. It's not like Hulu where you have to wait like till da 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 time the next day to watch the episode. You can watch it live. Obviously, it has commercials because you're basically watching the cable feed, but it's a really good way to watch Survivor during the season. And then if you get bored or want more Survivor, they have, I'm pretty sure, all the seasons of American Survivor. They also have 3 seasons of Survivor Australia, which I've started watching. Super interesting. So this isn't like a promo or anything, but I definitely say if you're a Survivor fan, it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm stoked to jump down that rabbit hole soon. But we are going to get into the swing of things here. We are here to talk about the 41st season of Survivor. And I think first I'll start by asking you, Shannon. Now, you like Survivor just as much as I do. What were your feelings going into watching this first episode again? As a lot of people, a lot of podcasts I've been listening to have brought this point up that a lot of people are watching Survivor into real time for the first time ever,
Mm-hmm.
post pandemic. So what were your thoughts as a longtime fan, going into this first episode and your general first impressions?
Well, this may surprise some people. I was excited. I was ready to get back into Survivor. A lot of the contestants said, we've been missing Survivor, we missed Survivor. And I really felt the same way. I'm not sure that I love how much fourth wall breaking is going on. When I watch reality shows, I kind of like turn my brain off and just immerse myself into that world. It's really hard to do when Jeff is talking directly to you multiple times during the episode. Um, Other than that, I was kind of correct in my prediction of, hey, shorter game. Kind of goes a little more along the line of other reality shows that have survival, in the sense of they're not giving them any food, which
Yeah.
is exciting as the viewers. But what was your reaction to that? Because I was kind of shocked that they actually did that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff here that I liked, and there's definitely a lot of things that I'm still a little lukewarm on, that it's a little weird. Again, I think having Jeff directly address the audience as much as he did, definitely a little jarring. Very strange, considering, the formula of the show has seldomly changed. Like, yeah, the theming has been different. They've incorporated different twists and turns, and even then, there's still tons of twists. So far in 2 episodes of the show, but
Oh yeah.
just directly like addressing the audience like that, and like having like the Jim Halpert moment, or like the Zach Morris edit of just like directly talking to the audience before things happen. It's definitely a little jarring, but all in all,
Yeah.
it's still I digested this a lot better than I thought I would. I got so far from a tangent I forgot what your original point was. What was the
Oh,
question?
no, it's okay. The lack of food this season.
Oh yeah, that's also very strange, and I also like that because I feel like Survivor has, and I've heard this on like other podcasts before too, but like they've definitely made it a little bit easy. They make sure that the castaways don't starve out there for sure.
Right, they're
So
holding their hand.
yeah, they're holding your hand a little bit. You've seen, especially in recent seasons, where people are negotiating for rice and trading in rewards, and we've seen what the cost of having to get extra rations is when you don't uh you know ration it properly. So I definitely like that they're trying to up the intensity a bit, because like they said, it's a 26-day season. The game's going to play a lot faster, as we see in this first episode. Two people are going to go home.
Hmm.
So that's a Survivor first. It's interesting. I do like that you're trying to up the survival aspect of Survivor, because that, at its core is it's in the name. That's what you're trying to do.
Right. Yes, you're doing challenges, but at the end of the day, it is a survival show. You are on an island, like you're supposed to be surviving, and kind of like you said, in the past, I've noticed more recently before this season, they were holding their hands. They were saying like, "Oh, it's okay. We're not going to let you starve." But now it's like Jeff is very firm in saying like, "No, not only will you, not get food, there will also be consequences for losing." In this episode, the tribe that totally lost, or the two tribes that totally lost, they got their flint taken away.
Yeah, that was a stark difference for me. The fact that they're like, there are legitimate like consequences to not performing well. I
Hmm.
like it. I think it's really, really cool, because I think, some of the best aspects of Survivor, and this might be like a lukewarm take. I think the challenges in Survivor they're all right. You don't
Yeah.
really show up for the challenges except for like, I don't know, the auction, or like like the
The friends and family challenges are always good. For those who don't know, typically there's an episode. I'm not sure if they're going to do it this season with COVID. I would be interested to
I
see.
doubt it.
So typically there's like a friends and family special where they will have a loved one come in, and they will typically either. I like it when they compete in the challenges together. Sometimes the family member will just watch. But those are really the challenges you tune in for.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Those are the challenges you definitely arrive for in Survivor. But again, the challenges are kind of, they're devices to move the plot along. It's really nothing that's I'm gonna lose a lot of sleep over if I miss them. I come, like most people, for the social aspect of the game. The things
Right.
that happen, between the challenges and tribal council and all that stuff in between. And a three tribe format, an hour and a half time, and there's no extra things like Exile Island or the Edge of Extinction that's gonna like
Yeah.
take away from the edit time. You get to spend a lot of time with these tribes in the first episode, and I love that. So right off, so yeah, that kind of, I think, wraps up the first
So
impressions. Any other thoughts you want to throw out there?
Well, a point I wanted to bring up as we talked about consequences for losing challenges, in past seasons, there have been discussions within alliances or within tribes about throwing challenges. I don't think we're going to see that at all this season, because there is I guarantee you, we'll talk about this when we get to the second episode, but they introduced the first reward. I guarantee you, not only is Jeff going to start taking away the flint, he's going to start taking away rewards. So I don't think we're going to see a whole heck of a lot of, hey, we really want to get this person out, we should just throw the challenge.
That's true. That I actually didn't really think about it that way. And maybe that is like a way that Survivor might be trying to keep the game a little bit more competitive, because I think I've listened to a bunch of Survivor podcasts, and there's always a lot of discussion of, was this tribe really giving it their all in this one
Right.
challenge? Were these people really? I think there is a challenge in Winners at War where people were like, did the Red Tribe really like throw that challenge? I forget
Right. Did
which
they
one.
try there?
Yeah, I don't know if that was the Tyson vote or which vote that was. I don't remember exactly where it was, but it was obvious that they might not have been totally trying in that challenge. But yeah, it was so strange. Like it's some. I do like that they are again punishing the tribes and forcing the most competitive aspect out of them. Whether we get the best TV out of it, because I don't think watching people sluggishly survive on like meager,
Right.
meager.
They're literally dying on the island, right? That's not the most entertaining.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't make for the most entertaining TV, but it does make for, I guess, for more competitive games. If they can hit that like sweet spot where
Yeah.
it's like, enough people are eating and surviving, and I guess maybe we'll see what episode 3 has in store for that, because people have fishing gear now and how they're going to be able to utilize that. So that aspect of the game I find very exciting. But yeah, I'm ready to dive
Okay.
into this thing if you are.
Yeah, no, I am. I think a good place to start is right off the bat. They start off on like this kind of, I guess it's a cargo ship. I'm like looking at a picture online.
Yeah.
It's like a cargo ship. Jeff's talking to them. Oh, we're so happy to be back. We're so happy to be back. There's like couple feel goods moments. Awesome. So it's funny that Green Tribe that we were a little
Yeah.
worried about. Wow, they really showed their stuff here in this first little. I want to call it like a mini challenge almost.
Yeah, I always love this sort of thing. I feel like Survivor is never really Survivor unless you're like jumping off of a boat
Right.
at some point. This is the Survivor staple. You have the tribes, meeting together on like a barge and right outside of the outskirts of where they are, and you force them to look for things on the boat. I think this is one of the first times they've like utilized. Well, not one of the first times. They haven't done this in a while. I think actually.
Well,
Let me think. I know they did this. They did this in Cambodia. They did this
yeah.
in David versus Goliath, where there's a challenge on the boat. Because most of you'll see it where they either have like a small challenge on the boat, or you're gonna have you have, I don't know, 60 seconds to take everything you can in sight, and like whatever is off the boat you can keep.
Right. And so basically how we've seen this done before, it's almost like a supply drop where it's like, all right, get whatever you want in this time limit, and then it's yours. You can leave with it. Obviously they were not going to do that this season, but
Yes.
this was more of a traditional, you have to find, I think it was 6 paddles, and then you may leave then. You may leave the boat once you find all 6 paddles. And it was like a race. What was the reward here? I'm trying to remember, because I think it was, what did they get? Was it the flint that they got a flint?
Yes, they got
pot,
their flint.
And a flint, a pot, and
a machete?
And a machete. So that's what you got if you did not get dead last.
Yes.
I think, was it only Green that got that?
Yes, it was I believe it was only the Green Tribe that wins. I believe the other tribe, you gain your flint by winning their immunity challenge, if I remember.
Right.
Correctly.
So let's talk for these tribes quick. Green. Wow, Green, really? And we were saying that was kind of the group that just seemed like it was almost like the misfit group. Like that nobody was really super alike on that tribe. They really came together and they ended up winning this mini challenge. The Blue Tribe, I mean, we thought they were going to do okay, and they end up like not unclipping their boat from the larger boat. So there's this really, really funny scene. They're paddling, and the camera just zooms out and they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, it was so funny to like watch this happen in the real time, because it's like they're very clearly in the water and they're very clearly moving, but like,
right.
what's happening here? So that was very funny to watch. And again, yeah, just to give the Green Tribe their roses, like we talked about in our first episode, that this tribe definitely has the highest like feast or famine potential. Like this tribe's either going to do really well or they are going to suck. And I gotta say, I was very impressed with how they got out the gates. Pretty strong here. I'm definitely almost marveled by how bad the Yase or the Yellow Tribe is.
Yeah. So the Yellow Tribe, really, really, as we will talk about going forward, the first 2 episodes, the Yellow Tribe really, really dropped the ball. They, for lack of better words, they really need to get their stuff together, because they are just all over the place. They can't come together as a team. I honestly want to know, like Jeff even said, I remember him saying the paddles are in the same place for everybody. Like, you're telling me you saw nobody. It was like this like little heightened like stack of crates or whatever, and the paddle was sitting on top. You're telling me you saw nobody go over there?
Yeah, it was just it was very strange. Yeah, I was definitely impressed with how bad they were in this first challenge, and yeah, we're gonna get a little bit of color commentary from everybody, in the first bit of discussion here, and then we get to see the tribes go back to their respective camps, and I believe this is how the other tribes earn their flint. Now that I remember,
Oh, the little
because
the second mini challenge.
yeah, which as someone that watches a lot of reality TV, this is basically an Amazing Race detour.
Yeah.
That happens here. So, you get a little bit of flavor text, about your tribe, about the people competing. Uh, I was, and at what point do they do the? Oh, okay, that comes in later in the episode. I'll talk about that. We'll get there eventually, but yeah, you get a little bit of flavor text about everybody, why they're out here, and I gotta say, I really love the way they're handling like the story packages this season because we're
I
seeing
was
a lot.
gonna say that as well.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of flashbacks, to things not in the game, and I gotta say, I'm very impressed with how the editing has been this season so far. I love this sort of stuff because again, there's only 18 people, and we're going to be losing. There's going to be a lot of double eliminations, and this game's going to move fast. So we're not going to get
Hmm.
to spend a lot of time with these people. And, I feel like for the most part, we got to know a lot of our early boots,
Hmm.
relatively well these first few episodes. We get a lot from Sarah in this first episode about how, her grandmother died of COVID, and, she's out here and her, she feels that her grandmother is out here with her. We get a lot of introspective from Ricard and, how he is, he left his pregnant partner at home who is a transgender
Hmm.
man, and the trials and tribulations that he goes through. We learn a bit about a lot about Evie and her trials and tribulations, and also we kind of glazed over the fact that Jeff has an open discussion about come on in, guys, his signature
Yeah.
catchphrase.
Yeah.
I
And so
What did you think about that? Because I dig it. If
I
it
liked
made you,
it. I
yeah,
did like it. So for those who don't know, there was a moment when they were first on the boat where, Jeff said, "Hey, like it's 2021," or I think, yeah, they filmed this in 2021. He said, how do we feel about this? Honestly, like anybody can say anything. And at the time, everyone's like, "Oh, it's fine." Everyone kind of gave the typical response that you expect when you're having maybe an uncomfortable discussion, like, "Oh, it's fine, whatever, it's tradition." And then not to skip too far ahead, but actually, for the first challenge, Ricard stands up and said, "You know what, Jeff? Like, I actually have something to say. Like, when you asked that, like, I wanted to say this, I just, didn't. I don't like it." And Jeff ends up saying it. So from here on out, whenever a challenge is introduced into Survivor, Jeff will just be saying, "Come on in." Just a very blanket statement, and I like that. I really did like that.
yeah, no, I did like that a lot. And again, any people that are complaining, Jeff even pokes fun at it later, saying this. Listen, if you guys think that I caved or Survivor's too woke at me, I won't read it anyway. And it just furthers my love for Jeff Probst as a person. I think he's a phenomenal. Yeah,
Yeah, Jeff Probst has always been kind of a, we're gonna do things, I don't give a shit kind of person. Not in the bad way, because that could definitely go the bad way. He's that in the good way.
yeah, and I love that he's been a little bit more aware because again, you watch some of these older Survivor episodes, not everything is aged terribly well. So
No,
you know,
not everything. Not everything translates super great to 2021.
no, not at all. But I am I'm very very pleased that again, and Jeff was like, yeah, I'm glad that was the last time I had to say it, and
Yeah.
so again, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. That's for damn
No,
sure.
I mean
But
it, and it's literally taking out one word. They kept the phrase is still going to be iconic without that in there. So I don't really see the issue myself.
yeah,
I think it is more inclusive, and I don't know why anyone would complain about that.
yeah. So we get again, we get a little bit more flavor text from people. Everybody's trying to make fire. We get to learn a little bit more about JD and Shan and the whole Green Tribe and everybody in general. I'm big fans of. I'm really big fans of how diverse this cast is, obviously, but everyone is just so cool. And also, like,
Hmm.
this is the first time that they have had people who were born after the show's premiere
Yeah.
be on the show, which I think is truly incredible. And again, the young players are big standouts. I think early so far.
Yeah. No, JD. Kind of one of those that shocked me. Now I do still think he's acting a little too big. You know, he is acting like a veteran when he's brand new. And we'll get into that later. But I wasn't as, for lack of a better word, I wasn't as annoyed with him as I thought I was going to be. I thought, reading his bio, all the people he said he was wanted to play like, I said, oh, here's this kid coming into the game. He thinks he knows how to play Survivor. I was fully expecting him to be an early out. But the way he kind of finessed himself, it really kind of surprised me.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's definitely a lot of early standouts here. I'm a big fan of Shan. I
Yeah.
did like the mafia passer.
Yes.
I think she's great. She came with her own theme music. Like
She did.
she's so funny. I'm a huge fan. So
I
I
love
hope.
Jeannie.
Yes, and I love her. I love her drag rag. I think that's the most comfortable thing you could bring on the island with Survivor.
Yeah, Jeannie, and we got a little package about Jeannie as well, kind of growing up with her culture, and her mom's acceptance was a big thing for her. Her mom actually, I teared up when she said her mom gave her like a diamond to give her partner as a symbol of her acceptance. It was a lot of the packages this season have been really, really beautifully done. They're doing a good job in a short time making us care about these people, which I enjoy.
Yeah, no, I was definitely very impressed with how with how everything was presented here about these castaways. Because again, something I think that got lost in a lot of these more like crazy twisty seasons, especially with like the Edge of Extinction and stuff, is that you lose a lot of those character moments. You
Hmm.
lose a lot of those story building moments. And again, we get a package on Brad and ranching with his father. We get a package on like we mentioned, JD gets one. Talking about his trials and tribulation of being kind of like, the weird kid, and then
Hmm.
growing into being this confident, outgoing person. And like, I love that stuff. I love that personal growth that is again being displayed to us. Like, show us these moments.
Right.
I love that they're taking the extra time to really break down these people and like let us know why we should root for them. So
And that was just so everyone can follow along. We just talked about the Green Tribe. Ua is
yeah.
actually how you say it. We just talked about them just now. What do we think of Louisville, the Blue Tribe?
Honestly, I love this tribe more than I thought I would.
Hmm.
I am a big fan, and at this point, spoiler alert, they've won 2 immunity challenges, so
Yeah.
they're all still very much intact here. And I'm honestly for the better. I think they have. I think pound for pound, we said that they were definitely going to be one of the more physically better tribes here,
Yeah.
from a physical standpoint, and
And they're
not.
showing it.
Yeah, they are. I'm a big fan of, Danny was a great first episode character. Again, I was a little afraid for a second, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. I think Danny's gonna play an intense game, and I'm here for it. I think it's a lot of
Hmm.
fun. I am Deshaun again. I think Deshaun has big winner potential here. He's smart, and we see a lot of Deshaun in the second episode. But he shows he's a workhorse, and he's good on the challenges, and again the women are holding their own too. I think Sydney, I think has grown on me.
Yeah.
Sydney as such like a very like strong personality type. She reminds me a
Hmm.
lot of like an Angelina sort of archetype, where
Yeah. Yeah.
strong, maybe a little mouthy, where it might get her in some trouble, but also like
Right.
incredibly smart. So and again, very physically taught as well. So they talk a little bit about her, living on like all these different continents, and like how she's a world warrior and travels a lot, and she's in law school as well. So
Hmm.
very multifaceted person. I'm glancing over my favorite person. Nasir might be my favorite castaway on this season.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say, I was gonna talk about Nasir. So Nasir gets his package episode 2. Talks about growing up in Sri Lanka, is it?
yes,
Sri Lanka? Yeah, so he basically, for lack of a better word, like grew up living Survivor, like actual
yeah,
Survivor. Like he didn't have electricity, he didn't have running water. He talks about, hey, my family didn't have a lot, but we were happy and I have all these survival skills, and he shows it. He is kind of the survival glue holding this tribe together. kind of teaching them the ways, and here's how you do this, here's how you can do that, and really being a good leader on that tribe, because we often see sometimes he kind of falls naturally into the leadership role, whereas sometimes we see people try to force themselves into that leadership role and just
Yep.
end up getting voted out. So he's doing it very organically, very naturally, and the others are happy to have him because they're like, hey, let him do all this hard stuff. Like there's a really, really funny scene about making fire in episode 2.
Yeah. We'll talk about Nasir
Mhm.
a little bit more in a bit, but I just want everyone to know up top I'm a huge fan. So
Mhm.
this tribe is really impressive to me. And again, the Yellow Tribe too, they have some characters. I love Evie.
I
Evie
love
was
Evie.
I've been I was very afraid for Evie because again, Evie did have a lot of, I don't want to say first boot qualities, but the way that Survivor typically goes, that whoever the weaker older woman is on your tribes, you're not always in a great spot, especially in these smaller tribes. And Evie was also, in the classic position of messing up the puzzle at the end of the challenge.
Mhm.
So that is again what has cost many a Survivor player, their time in the in their game. So I'm glad that Evie
Evie,
survived.
I love them. I really love Evie, and we'll talk about them more kind of in the episode 2 portion, because that's where they really like shined. Um, but I love Evie. Evie, honestly, after watching this first episode, Evie's like a final 3 or 2, depending on how they do it, pick for me.
Yeah, I think I think Evie has now put themselves in a really good position. I think we're maybe approaching on a swap potentially.
I think so.
I I think we might be encroaching on that at some point. So, and again, I was a believer in like if Evie's able to get past those first 2 votes, I think I think they are gonna be able to survive, as we can kind of tell how the makeup of this tribe is going. The women are now in spoiler alert in a
Yeah,
majority.
they're in
So
power.
yeah, and I'm a big fan of Liana as well. I think she's been awesome. She's been great TV, and that's gonna be a good that's gonna be a fun relationship to watch. These two,
Yeah,
very smart, and again, better than you would think. Physically kept women. Like when
yeah.
Liana, we'll talk about when we get to the second immunity challenge. Liana is a beast.
Yeah. So Tiffany. So I'm in a weird place with Tiffany. I love
I think
Tiffany's
we all are.
story. I love Tiffany's life. I love Tiffany as a person. I'm not so hot on Tiffany the survivor.
Yeah, Tiffany definitely is showing some pretty scary signs here, and I'm kind of afraid with how things are gonna fare for the Yellow Tribe in the next few upcoming episodes. But
Yeah. So kind of to get back on track here, they all get off the boat. They row their little boats to their little islands here. And then this is how the other 2 tribes get their flint. It's called like savvy or sweat. Nobody picks the savvy option, which is, and I don't blame them, because like I've tried to do these puzzles in my personal time and failed miserably. Um, it's essentially a big puzzle cut up into small triangles, and it's one of those, how many triangles do you see here? Like those Facebook memes.
yes,
Nobody does that, which is so smart, because those will trick you like instantly. And they only had one guess. You had 4 hours to solve it, but you only had one guess for that. The other option, the sweat, they had to take these, I wouldn't even call them buckets. They were calling them
they're
buckets, but that was
yeah
generous.
they're literally like wash like pails. Like
Yeah, the tiniest little like thing for water, and there's 2 of them and 2 people, and you have 4 hours, and you have to go back and forth between these 2 barrels and the ocean, and you have to fill them until they overflow. Um, and that is what Luvu and Yase got to do to get their flint.
yeah. Again, it had big detour energy from the Amazing Race, and
Hmm.
I was definitely a little wary of how this would have worked out for these guys. I think something that is like Survivor 101 that terrifies me of, that the mistake that people make on a first day is being separated from the group. And you even hear
Yeah.
Voce like, manifest his own destiny here when he talks about, you don't want to be the idiot that stays behind. and be separated from the tribe all day while everyone else gets to strategize. And lo and behold, he's the idiot that has that,
Right.
option to stay behind. So that I did find that, the fact that they went for that option very interesting, but also considering that I read online that people were trying to, break down what really defines a triangle versus, like I think I saw online someone did it. There's like 49 triangles in there or something like that. It was something insane.
Yeah, and there was no way. I know they wanted he like Voce really wanted to do that option. He talks later in these two episodes about how he's a big surgeon and his mom instilled with him that this work hard attitude and he's very mentally strong. He for sure wanted that option. I just do not think as a whole that option would have worked out. Maybe if it was just him in silence in a normal setting for 4 hours figuring that out, sure. But do I think on the island of Survivor, where you have all these different personalities and ideas, that would have worked out and you have one guess? No.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's I would have probably made the same choice. Yes, it means being separated from the tribe, but also that means you get to make a ride or die on that first alliance right there. And we haven't seen a lot of how Deshaun and Danny's relationship is going to build, but we saw a little bit of it in the first episode, a lot of it in the first episode, and a lot more of Voce and Xander's relationship that they built together. In
Yeah,
that
the
second
besties.
episode. Well, yeah, they're indeed besties.
They're besties.
But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so no, I was actually just gonna say, and then kind of after, there's another separation. If you kind of want to talk about that briefly.
Yes. Are you referring to the immunity idol?
The prisoner's dilemma. Oh well, we could talk about the idol quick.
Yeah, but yeah. So
or the quote unquote idol.
Yeah, real quick. Deshaun and Danny almost make a very crucial day one mistake as well. They get caught by Nasir, running off to go look for the immunity idol while they're supposed to be doing this challenge, which you had 4 hours to do. So
right,
definitely not a great optic. But also, also Nasir was like, oh yeah, we promised not to talk about strategy till you guys get back, and then immediately goes behind everybody's back and be like, oh, these guys are doing this. Like immediately sold them up the river.
yeah,
I definitely think that was a rough choice. I would have personally held on to that information. Like in the event
I would have kept that to myself.
Yeah, if they failed the challenge, I definitely would have exposed them for that.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, it's like, yeah, it's a rough optic. So
even if you're thinking numbers, he could have even kept that to himself, gone to them later, like, hey, I saw you guys.
Yeah,
if you want me to keep my mouth shut, we need to start doing each other some favors here.
Yeah, exactly. Like definitely. I think Nasir definitely could have turned that in his favor, where he's like, oh hey, I saw you guys looking for the idol, like I want in on whatever you guys are doing, and then like you have that sort of extortion leg to your advantage here, where you can use your information as leverage, but instead he immediately sells them up the river. So again, Nasir's been great through 2 episodes, but I'm definitely afraid that because of that move that he made, it might come back to bite him if Luvu has to go to tribal council.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, but say all 3 of them make the merge. How easy would it be for Danny and Deshaun to be like, hey, this guy's not trustworthy. He ratted us out day 1.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that more now, especially because now we're going to talk about another twist that Survivor's thrown at you this season, the prisoner's dilemma, which is so basically, to break it down for you guys, after spoiler alert, everybody finishes the task. So all 3 tribes have flint at this point. So everybody's
for
happy.
Right now.
Yeah, for now, asterisk. So everybody is celebrating and this and that, and everybody's very excited to have access to their supplies. And then a boat shows up with a note that says that each tribe must pick one representative to go on a quest to make a private decision. So what I really liked here is that each tribe had a different way of going about how they picked a representative.
Me too.
Yeah, so the green tribe, I believe, draws straws.
Rocks. They do rocks.
They do rocks. So, I liked the yellow tribe. They're just like, well, Xander's the least likely to lie to us, so let's send Xander. And then Danny just kind of volunteers himself because nobody else wants to go. So
right.
I feel that there's a lot of fun stuff there. But yeah, so that was so we eventually see what ends up happening here. the sort of 3 tribe members that are, selected all converge on an island in which they get to, hang out with each other, commingle while they hike up the side of this mountain to get to its summit, in which at the top you are greeted with a message in which you must go make a private decision, and you either get to risk your vote or play it safe. If you risk your vote and the other 2 people choose a different option than you, then you get an extra vote. If all 3 of you choose to save your votes, nothing happens. If all 3 of you risk your votes, all 3 of you lose your vote at the next tribal council. Shannon, were you as confused in this on the first go around as I was? Because I definitely had to watch this scene a few times.
No, I was. I had to watch it a couple times. I really had to sit down. I paused it and I just thought about it for a minute. I think it was easier to understand when there was only 2 of them there. We'll get to that in kind of the second part of this in episode 2. But with the 3 people there, man, I was confused. I was like, I don't understand. I just think they're all going to lose their vote somehow. What ends up happening is Danny protects his vote, which automatically gives Xander and JD, who both risk their vote, an extra vote.
Yes.
Because if you in that situation are the person that protects your vote and the other 2 risk, nothing happens to you as the person who's protected your vote. You're fine. You go along with your, day, and then giving your, other 2 people who are there with you an advantage of, oh, now we have this extra vote, which so it really is the prisoner's dilemma. Not only is it, do I want to be greedy and have the extra vote, but as we see in episode 2, can we kind of make an alliance thing out of this?
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely I love that they're trying to, add a layer to choice in this game, because you're seeing it a lot where they're really emphasizing, it's like, hey, listen, like, yeah, you can have this thing, but the risk is great, instead of them just kind of like handing you out advantages throughout the course of a season. And we'll talk about another advantage that comes up a
Yeah.
little bit later. We'll talk about that in a bit. But
Not only, I'm not sure if this is what you're referring to. So anyway, really quickly to sum this up, they go, like I said, Danny protects, Xander and JD both risk. Xander, as expected, an open book when he gets back to camp. Tells them every little detail. JD does not. He does not tell his tribe, I believe, about the extra vote.
yes, and honestly, this again goes back to what I said about the editing of the show. JD tells his tribe the whole story, that he goes through the whole journey and then doesn't risk his vote. But then you find out at the 11th hour when he's in the voting booth that he actually did risk his vote. So I love that the show is making you wait for these things instead of just giving us all the information up front. I think that makes for better storytelling. And I thought that, again, it really solidifies that JD is here to play. And I love that everybody was just like, I think, I forget who said it on what tribe, but someone was just like, yeah, that story had so many details, it was impossible for them to lie to us about that.
Right.
Like, there's no way that's not exactly what happened. Versus when JD is the same exact thing, Ricard's like, nah, he's lying to us.
Yeah. Danny, of course, is just totally honest. He risked nothing. He gained nothing. So I think being honest there was the right play. Told them everything. So not really anything too exciting there.
Yeah, you're gonna see exactly why losing your vote in these small tribe situations later is not the wave.
Not good.
Not good at all. So, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just moving right along here. There's another new element introduced, which I feel like this is honestly the season of let's just throw everything at them that we can. The dice.
Yes. So at the next immunity challenge, again, we get the discussion of, Jeff retiring the phrase "come on in, guys." Again, again, more inclusive language in Survivor. Love it. I'm here for it. I can't get enough of it. So, we are then introduced to the shot in the dark die, which is a die that you can. So from what I understand, and this one again, I had to rewind to like really.
Me too. This one confused me more than the last one, to be honest.
Yeah. So the way that the die works is that there is you can at any tribal council, you have one shot to roll. Put this die in a box, and if the die comes up with safe, you are immune from that tribal council, but you cannot vote. You are simply just saving yourself. So there is a 1 in 6 chance that you can deem yourself safe at a tribal council at the risk of losing your vote. Um, to be fair, is it really rolling a die if you're just like putting it in like a Yahtzee bottle and then like
Right, yeah,
leaving
no,
it
it's really
there? Like,
not. But I kind of like I like this and I don't. I like it because so often we see situations where good players end up alone. Uh they end up,
yes,
without an alliance, and they're just kind of they're stuck. That they they're going home next. So I like it if it will work in those instances. I just worry, even though Jeff says like, hey, it's really rare, don't expect to get this. I just worry, like, I hope it stays rare and it doesn't get overused and happen too often because
yeah.
there's nothing stopping someone from rolling it, quote unquote, every tribal.
Sure. Yeah. I believe you only, yeah, I think you only get that one shot if I'm correct. In
Is it?
thinking about this,
Let me do some
I'm
reading
assuming it
here.
is. I'm assuming it is. They didn't really say if you can use it multiple times because
Hmm.
if you could, why not use it? Every tribal like you said. So I think
Well,
there has to be
right.
some sort of limit on it.
Well, I guess we will see when somebody ends up using it. That's the thing. Nobody used it in these first two episodes, so kind of unfortunately, we have to go off assumptions here of how it will work. I would agree that I would like it to be one time, but if it's not, then yeah, you lose your vote. But what is to stop someone from doing it every time?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like and what I do like maybe I'll go back and watch the clips to see if they like say anything about it. But I usually am like not a big fan of like some of these newer twists that they've added in. What I do like about this die is that I'm not opposed to advantage get in Survivor. I just like it that they're making it upfront and obvious that everybody has this, everybody knows it exists. Go crazy,
Right,
instead of having your I think back to Janet in Island of the Idols where she has a an immunity idol at the final 6, and then her idol gets nullified because Dean has
right.
the idol nullifier, which I think was cool the first time it happened, but very lame the second time it happened. So definitely not.
Right.
Yeah. So I think as long as the castaways like know up front that what the twists are, it's very it's fine. It's fair game. I hope it's a one time use type of thing. It would be very dumb if you could use this every week. But I'm gonna see how it plays out, and if I dig it, I'll see how I feel at a later date. But right now, I'm pretty in on the Shot in the Dark Die, even though the name
Yeah, no, I
sucks.
think it's okay. I think it's the name is questionable, but I think the concept is okay. And then briefly, they did not spend a lot of time on this. Jeff mentioned it very briefly, the game within the game. I think I was expecting different puzzles here, but essentially it's picture puzzles,
Yes.
which are pretty obviously geared towards children and younger players.
Did you get the
Um,
first? Did you get the ones that were popping up? Did you figure
I
them
I
out?
didn't. I probably could if I saw it again. I didn't pause or anything. I just kind of said, "Oh, that's cute," and moved on.
Yeah, I paused both of them. The answers are I think the first one is like day one alliance, and the second one is worth playing for. Or is
Oh,
it no?
okay.
Is it? Is it? Oh, what was it? It was hold on. I gotta think about it off the top of my head.
Maybe I could.
Yeah, yeah. It was worth playing for.
Yeah, okay, let me see here.
Gamewithinagame.com,
Yeah,
which is
hello.
yeah.
um, let's see. Oh, okay, I was trying to see if I could find a picture of him, but apparently not quickly. So never mind. But it's cute. I definitely agree. Like like my child doesn't really watch Survivor with me. I don't blame her. Like she's 6. There's nothing for her. But I think definitely for maybe like 8 through 10 year olds like and up will really enjoy that little kind of part for them.
Yeah, it's if it means having more kids watch Survivor, sure. Like
Right.
if it means my 13-year-old nephew can watch Survivor and have fun with it, so be it. But
Right. It's just a
yeah,
little fun thing for the kids, basically.
yeah, and for the adults like me that
Oh
like
yeah,
puzzles.
no, I mean definitely like if I don't want to say if I cared more, but just for me I was like, "Oh, that's nice." Um
So let's get into our first immunity challenge here, Shannon. We get the
yes.
classic Survivor, starting off challenge. You're throwing yourself over something, under something, getting covered in sawdust.
Running.
You have to move these heavy sandbags off of a track, push the sled off the track, and then you're carrying puzzle pieces up an incline in which you build a puzzle. And for the first time, I think because I don't think they very rarely do this in a 3 tribe format season. Only one tribe is immune from tribal council, and for the first time, 2 people will be voted out in the first episode.
Yeah, no, I was really shocked at that. I thought for sure because typically what they do, and we go back to this in episode two, at least for episode two, there's like the big immunity idol, and then there's like the little one that still means the same thing. It just means you came in second. Um,
Yeah.
so I was waiting for him to pull out that little idol, and he didn't. And I was like, oh, they're both gonna go to tribal, which I think kind of did for the first episode put some much needed pressure on the tribes. Because it was very up until this point, very lighthearted, very like, we're here to have a good time. We're so excited to be back. And then you get into this first challenge and you're like, oh, we only have a 1 in 3 shot of being safe.
Yeah, exactly. I think again in a season like this where they're playing a faster game and they lose 1/3 of their original season, you're probably going to see You're probably going to see a lot more double elimination episodes. So,
Hmm.
so we again we see the trials and tribulations of this first challenge. We see probably the weirdest technicality of why a tribe has to go back, where that
Yeah.
bag is just slightly off of the tarp for the blue tribe. It was quite a strange sight to see.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, eventually how it all, becomes said and done, it is lost on the puzzle portion of this, where the blue tribe pretty much runs away with this entire challenge, and the green
Yeah.
tribe, like I was saying, through about 3/4 of that challenge, the green tribe was looking like a powerhouse. Sarah and
Yeah.
Shan were motoring through that puzzle, and I was like, everything I thought about this tribe is completely different. Like
Hmm.
they're going to be this powerhouse, and it's going to be a wild, first vote here. But lo and behold, the old forgot to check the bag for all the puzzles trick is
That was
eventually what
awful.
screw. Yeah, that's what screws over the green team. So it is going to be the Luvu tribe that wins the first immunity challenge here, Shannon.
Yeah. And yellow was there.
They tried. They really tried.
They are really listen. They're not puzzle people. Evidently they're not physical challenge people either. Um, I hope for their sake this isn't the running theme for the first couple episodes. Like, oh, yellow's just there. Because blue and green definitely these two challenges kept it very competitive.
Yeah, it's tough. It was competitive for definitely between the two the green and the blue tribe, but yeah, the yellow tribe, it's not looking good for them. They did not look
No.
great in this first challenge, and I'm surprised they're struggling as much as they are. But
Yeah.
it's definitely not been an easy go for the yellow tribe. So we get to see the green tribe and the yellow tribe go to tribal council here. Now I forget if there's anything that happens before this, to be
Uh
honest.
Important to note, we kind of mentioned this briefly. They did lose their flint for losing the challenge, so they have no fire.
Yes, that's true. They again, you're being punished for losing challenges here. Curious, like you said, if we're gonna see them take away other stuff, like the other reward stuff. But I think it might just be limited to the flint. Hopefully,
Hopefully.
that'd be a lot of stuff to keep track of, to keep taking back and forth
Yeah.
for sure. Um,
And it's just kind of you have the very like very almost cliche first tribal scrambles for both tribes. Nobody wants to be the first out. Abraham ends up going for um oh my gosh, I'm having a brain moment. The yellow tribe.
yes, the Yase
And
tribe.
then for the Uan tribe, it ends up being Sarah, which I guess on a team of because the Green Tribe, I will say one other thing they have going for them: they are all super likable.
They are all super likable.
Brad has his moments for sure, but for the
Yeah,
most part, super likable people.
yeah. Well, yeah. I guess a couple things to note before this is that I think what really does Abraham in here is that again he's kind of playing to like the survivor trope. It says okay, like the older woman is who's going to be holding us back. We have to keep this tribe strong for the
Hmm.
challenges. So Abraham is definitely very all gung ho about voting out Tiffany. Everybody seems to be on board with that. But again, Evie is showing, their strategic prowess here of playing the middle pretty perfectly.
Such a
Nobody seems,
dangerous
yeah,
game, but they are doing it so well.
yeah, like nobody seems to expect that Evie is playing both sides of the field here. Evie is almost immediately in the pocket with the guys, and then they're again immediately in the pocket with the women, and they even say it's like there's a quality about Tiffany that like you want to keep around. We're in a different
Right.
era now where they're three very smart, capable women, on that tribe, and Evie's like, listen, I don't like the notion of keeping this tribe strong means having to get rid of, the women in the group because again, if Tiffany goes home, guess who's the weakest person on the totem pole at that point? It's Evie. So
It's funny because I think we talked about in our kind of preview episode the trope of the older maternal woman and the really like game running man. I think in this season it could definitely be obviously, it strays from the trope we're used to, but it could in this season kind of switch up a little bit and be Evie and Tiffany.
yeah, it's definitely. I'm really curious to see how this relationship goes forward here, especially because Tiffany doesn't have a great second episode. But
No,
um
no.
yeah, but I do love Evie's strategic prowess here. Kind of getting and again getting the likes of Voce and Xander on board with this plan. It's like, hey, listen, Abraham's playing real hard here. He's real likable. I think you have to be wary of people like this. And Evie makes their case known, and they listen. So Abraham is going to go home here in a pretty anticlimactic conversation at tribal
Pretty
council.
swift. Ooh,
You
should we
know,
talk about go ahead. After you finish, sorry. Then I want to talk about the Green Tribal Council.
yeah. I figure we'll just talk about the yellow tribal council
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Again, you don't really get a lot out of Abraham in his first season. They definitely talked out of all like the pregame stuff that I read. I was definitely like worried about Abraham, where
Mm-hmm.
there could have been a lot of Philip Shepard here, but like not in like a good way.
Yes.
So
No.
yeah, so unfortunate stuff for Abraham. They will go down as a pretty unmemorable first boot here.
Yeah.
But no fault to them. I guess I think the fear of being the strategic threat definitely maybe outweighed keeping the tribe strong, especially in these smaller tribes. I think people are willing to like cut providers.
Sacrifice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think a provider is gonna like be a real like game saver here, but we'll see if that changes. So, do you want to talk about the Green Tribe now? Because that was the more fun stuff.
I do, because I have very passionate thoughts about the Green Tribe at this first tribal council.
Yes,
Because
yes.
everyone
So
was
go
asking
ahead.
me, "Oh, what do you think of the episode?" And every person I talked to, I talked about this, for lack of a better term, shit show of a tribal council from the Green Tribe. Um, so it was, they all kind of thought they were on the same page going in. As the discussions kind of unfold, we've seen this before, but not to this degree. Um,
Yes,
People were, at one point, they're standing up, they're pulling each other to the side, they're not even whispering, saying, "Oh, it's this person, it's this person, it's this person." It ends up somehow getting switched to Brad at some point. And then there's this very dramatic, I think it was Shannon JD talking. And JD just goes, "I'm with you. Who do you want? Like, whatever you want to do, I'm with you." And then Sarah goes home.
yeah. This is for lack of a better term, a live tribal council for
This
sure.
was, this was, they ultimately did not know who they were voting out. Let's just call it what it is going into it. There was a lot of confusion, a lot of scrambling. We typically don't see this much scrambling happening at the tribal council, but here we are. And what I found funny is normally Jeff is so quick to call this out. He just kind of let it ride.
Yeah, I think Jeff is like, all right, I've seen enough of this. This isn't trying to talk over it. I saw a great tweet online the night of the premiere that was like, me when the tribe like me when the tribe mates get close to whisper to each other, kiss.
Right.
And I just thought that was very funny.
Well, because they were all whispering, they were all trying to be so sneaky. Brad also acted like he did not hear any of this, kind of like Jeff.
Yeah.
Brad was in his own little world with Jeff.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I don't think Brad knows how to play Survivor.
You know what?
Like,
And it's sad because, like I said, I like Brad. Reading his bio, one of my early favorites. I don't know if he's ever seen Survivor. He has no idea what he is doing.
yeah, there's been a lot of I don't so a little bit what we see from the Green Tribe beforehand. I think everybody's a little nervous about JD. JD definitely
Mhm.
comes out of the gate as a big threat. He's very personable. They think he has an advantage. I think, people like Ricard and Shan are definitely a little wary. Shan
Mhm.
also someone that's playing the middle really well here.
Yeah.
You're seeing the camp of, Brad and Jeannie, setting up Bus here, and, Jeannie and Sarah also working well together. Brad does he does the stupidest thing I think I've ever seen a Castaway do. In a conversation where Ricard and everybody are talking about what to do about JD. They ask Brad to his face, "Oh, who do you think about voting out?" He's like, "Oh, I'm thinking about I'm thinking about Shannon. I'm thinking about Shannon and Sarah
And
when
they're
they're standing right
standing
next."
right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
yeah, Sarah very quick to call that out. It's like, that's a year 2000 move, bro. Like, what are you
Right. Yeah.
doing?
No. She literally said that. Like Brad's playing on the first season, which I do think, it's funny. I heard that and I laughed, but I have to agree. Brad would have probably done super well on the first season. But we're seeing now just the how much Survivor has truly evolved, and it's a very new game socially. Being honest and laying your cards on the table completely might have worked season one. It's not going to work anymore.
Yeah, that's that's just a boneheaded move. So
Yeah, that
Brad
was
definitely is. Brad has some chaotic energy for
yeah,
sure. He's definitely like this. He has a little bit of Tony in him, and I really do
for
enjoy
sure.
that. And it's either gonna take him real far or he's gonna crash in a blaze of glory. And I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm here for it either way, to be honest. He's kind of like, for that reason, he's still one of my favorites. But now for a different reason.
Yeah. So again, we get a look at the tribal council here. Everybody's just kind of, talking about it, and JD again makes it known he's going to make things a live tribal council. So, there's the whispering, the this and the that, and the vote changes a couple times. They want to vote out Brad. JD's quick to say that voting out Brad is a stupid decision. A lot of back and forth here, and Sarah even considers rolling her die for safety.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you think, what if she did in this scenario? As it is
I
going to
don't.
be Sarah
Yeah.
Wilson, the robbed goddess, will be the second boot of the season.
Yeah. I mean, sad because I wanted to see what she could do, but also I feel like if we stack up who I was ready to lose on that tribe at this point, unfortunately for me, she was the pick as well.
Yeah, it sucks because Sarah had, I think, some really good pregame press, and a lot of people I was listening, to podcasts on, they were all really high on Sarah. A lot of people.
Hmm.
I don't know what I was missing. Maybe there was something in like, being like the, kind of in that like ripe age of like 26 to like 30. You've
Right.
lived a lot of life. You know a little bit about Survivor. You have a good story. So Sarah just found herself on the wrong end of the numbers, and the mafia pastor, coming through here in cold blood, cutting Sarah when to her face. She's like,
Shan
yeah,
flipped so quietly. She said, "All
yeah,
right, it's my girl. She's going." So I'm excited to see the kind of moves that Shan will make in the future. Because I like that silent but deadly kind of quality she is about her.
yeah. I'm gonna just go on a limb here. I think Shan's my winner pick now.
Yeah, I could see it. Now I could see it.
She's got a winner. She's like, you kind of learn how to sniff out the winner's edit here in Survivor after watching enough seasons. So,
Hmm.
I'm gonna go back and definitely like watch some of those first episode confessionals to see like what I can catch. But
Hmm.
I think I'm ready to like put Shan like on the top of my pedestal as my winner
I
pick
could
personally.
see this green team, honestly. This green team, I could see them all going far. Like, I would not be shocked if they made up like a good part of the merge. I could see Jeannie kind of falling into like a Trish role from Kagayan,
Yep.
just kind of there to help out. No, I think this whole green tribe is gonna go far. Definitely to the merge. I'm excited to see hopefully what they do post merge. Green tribe really, I think, surprised us in a good way.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, any other thoughts on the premiere episode here before we get into hour 2 of our podcast?
No, I think this is a good point to just jump right into episode 2. Definitely more exciting. Definitely more drama because we're really starting to get into the thick of it here.
Yeah, after a 2-hour premiere in episode 1, we get back to our standard 1 hour premiere in season 2, and I'm make Survivor 90 minutes. An hour isn't
Yeah.
enough. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, and that's what I actually immediately thought when I was going on episode 2. I said, "Oh, there's, because then you got to figure in commercials, and it's just like, oh, you're basically getting like 45 minutes, maybe." I think a 90-minute Survivor would be good.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for for those implications. So yeah, we start off episode 2 here. Everybody's just kind of you know talking and kind of discussing what happened the night before. We start with our last tribe we saw in the green tribe. We hear Brad talking about how he saw his life flash before his eyes. His game was almost over, and then we see you see Brad hilariously like I was playing like the I don't I was playing the Benny Hill music in my head like
Yeah.
while
So Brad, kind of calling back to how he plays, recklessly kind of reminding us of Tony. Brad sees Ricard and JD. They're going to get water together, which like in Survivor is like the bat signal of like they're scheming. So Brad even says like doesn't take two people to get water. Um so Brad takes off down the beach, sprinting, like he's, throwing his little arms next to him. Does like this, like, army dive slash army crawl into this bush. And there's a really funny side note of he's like, I'm a hunter. Animals can sense their eyes on you, so I'm just going to close my eyes. So he's just like in the fetal position, basically, eyes closed, listening to Ricard and Jane D talk, and it's got to be one of the funniest things I've seen on Survivor in a long time, if I'm being honest.
yeah, you've heard of the spy shack. Have you heard of the spy shrub?
Right.
It was very funny, and also just it was just made for great visual TV. So Brad immediately clocks that Ricard and JD are talking about him. He then runs back and tells Jeannie and Shan, and which Shan immediately sells Brad Brad up the river,
Mm-hmm.
telling him Ricard's like, hey, you were talking, he was spying on you guys. So again, Brad definitely flying very close to the sun.
Yes.
It's very scared. I'm very scared for Brad. I hope the Green Tribe continues to win because I need Brad to make it to the merge.
I need post merge Brad, because I need that chaotic energy on my television screen. And I think kind of if he does make the merge, people are either gonna love him or they're gonna hate him.
Yeah, I'm definitely in Team Brad. I love the like the goofy dad chaos he brings.
Right. No, it is very that. I will be interested to see if Brad spying on them does come back to bite him in any way if he's ever confronted with that. Um, Green team, this episode was really not in a position to go to tribal. Would have been super interesting if they were to see if that was brought up.
Yeah, I think honestly, if we're talking power ranking, I think Brad might be on the bottom of this tribe thing
Yeah,
here.
no, Brad's
Like,
they're all lovable, but Brad's not doing so hot.
yeah, so we immediately transition over to the Yellow Tribe. Again, they're still reeling from their own tribal council. You see everyone just trying to talk to each other, and you see a little bit more about Evie's strategy of, kind of playing the middle, letting the guys think that that they're with them, and then vice versa, and the women know that Evie's playing both sides of the coin. And again, I can't stress enough how impressed I am that Evie is playing the middle so well, completely beknownst to Voce and Xander.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so while we're on the Yellow Tribe, our buddy Xander ends up finding kind of our first hidden advantage of the season. This season it is called the Beware Advantage. I'm going to try to break this down as
Go right
simply as I
ahead, please.
can because it of course, like anything this season, it can't just be an immunity idol. It's got to have all these different components to it. Essentially, and we see Jeff kind of plant them at the Yase tribe specifically, and we see him plant one. Uh, so what happens is essentially on 3 islands there is a hidden immunity idol. That's what it boils down to. That's what it is. However, all 3 idols need to be found, one on each island, before any of them become activated. The other part to this is until those idols become activated, the holder of the idol does not have a vote, which Kind of especially sucks for Xander. He's supposed to have an extra vote. He doesn't have either of them now.
Yeah. This is wild. But again, I kind of love it. I think it's cool. I love that.
Yeah, I don't.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Finish.
good. Okay, so I was gonna say quickly, I don't mind as opposed to the other two. This is probably the twist that I don't mind the least. This is, I mean, I think it's totally, I think it's fine, and there's a cute little funny scene later, where Brad, or I'm sorry, Xander has to say his little phrase at the immunity challenge, and it's "I truly believe that butterflies are dead relatives saying hi." And that's a really funny moment because there's this awkward. I was expecting them to play, the crickets. There's this awkward silence, and everyone just kind of laughs. But that is essentially how you will know if your other idol holders do have the idols. They will repeat their phrases back to you.
It was it was just so funny. Again, I love this first and foremost because again, I don't hate the advantages in Survivor, but I do like that they're making them harder to utilize. I think the hidden immunity idol is crucial to the season. I think it really ingrained itself into the zeitgeist of the show. People expect it. People have gotten better at finding these idols. So it's like, hey, you can find this idol, but it's gonna cost you like a lot, especially again in a game of smaller tribes. Xander went from being in a power position with 2 votes to being the GOAT with 0 votes until
Right.
these get activated. So I I essentially love that the key to activating your idol is like activating the Winter Soldier, where you have to like say
Right.
a phrase and someone has to repeat like a canned response back to you. So I
No,
think
I
it's
love that.
it's so stupid. I think it makes for great TV. And again, we see the power in information where Xander shares this with Voce and Evie then immediately sells that information to the women. So everybody is in on what's going on here, and this is going to become very crucial later.
Hmm.
But yeah, I believe what happens next is we get to do we get to the challenge after this point? I don't remember what comes up after this.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of, so keep in mind in this like faster game format, unfortunately, I think the first part of the episode is going to be very, very quick because I believe we do get to the challenge immediately
Oh, that's
after
right.
that.
We get the we also get the blue tribe making the fire, and we get Nasir
Oh
being
yeah,
awesome here.
Nasir's awesome. You see kind of Nasir's package at this point, growing up. They actually have pictures of his life back home. Not sure if that's where he still lives, but that's where he grew up. And you kind of see that Nasir was kind of built for this. He says he can make fire without flint. He didn't even need the flint. Which actually could be very crucial going down the line if the blue tribe is ever in a position where they do lose their flint.
Yeah, no, for sure. And again, I think this is the episode that really made me a Nasir fan. I think number one, Nasir, not the first Survivor players to compete from Sri Lanka. I
No.
believe both the Anderson twins, Natalie and Nadia, both of Sri Lankan descent. So
Mm-hmm.
love that for them and for Nasir. And again, Nasir really proves his worth here as kind of a nature guy. Again, I think in these smaller seasons, you can really afford to lose a provider. You're
Right.
not going to lose any sleep at night over it. But it's one of those things where he's even his tribe's like, I think we can't go without Nasir now. So it kind of
Yeah,
makes you
no,
think.
his tribe is like, I think we kind of need him. Like, I think they even said like, hey, at first we kind of wanted to use him for his knowledge, but no, we think we need him.
Yeah,
So it definitely going to be interesting, even post merge, depending on what they kind of take away from them post merge for losing. Nasir could be very valuable in this particular season.
yeah, I'm a big Nasir fan, so I hope that the Blue Tribe continues to thrive because I need more of him on my TV. I think everyone in the Blue Tribe, I think, is great so far, except Heather.
Hmm.
Heather's been pretty like invisible these
No, yeah,
first couple
Heather,
of
we haven't heard
episodes.
much from Heather like at all.
Yeah, so she's very invisible right now. So
She's there.
hopefully, yeah, she exists.
She's yeah, she warms up the sit out bench for this challenge.
Yeah,
She's a good cheerleader. She's just there.
yeah, I'm here for it. So I'm very very excited for how things are gonna shake down and develop here. As now we get into our conjoined immunity and reward challenge. So again,
Hmm.
the episode's kind of flying by here, Shannon.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, we're probably going to see a lot of these combined challenges. I think it would be very difficult in an hour for this short season with everything they have to get done to have both an immunity challenge and a reward challenge, unless they were back to back, unless they kind of throw some other twists in there. I'm excited to see that. So essentially, this is the first water challenge of the season. They like to do these a lot where they're just kind of on floating platforms in the middle of the ocean. Essentially, your team is kind of divided. It's almost like a relay race. And 5 people participate. As we said, the blue team did have someone sit out.
Mhm.
So basically, your first member gets to swim past the first obstacles, swim down. Survivor loves to do this dive and then untie the key. So they dive down, they untie the key, they go to the puzzle mat, and they just kind of sit there and they get to wait and watch. The second part of the challenge is 2 teammates will go one at a time through these obstacles. The first obstacle was kind of like a climbing net, kind of over the water, and of course it sunk as you went into it. You dove off that platform, and then your next part of the obstacle is very much traditional balance beam. It is literally just a beam. You
Yeah.
can shimmy across it, you can walk across it, but it is just a balance beam. That's it. You dive off, you go to the platform, and then once both of those tribe mates are on the platform, the puzzle people are allowed to put together a little turtle puzzle. Uh, so something very iconic, but not in a great way, happens.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Tiffany has. Yeah, I was gonna. So again, we've seen a few things be like the bane of most people's existences when it comes to Survivor stuff. It could be the puzzle, but sometimes it's also the balance beam. We've seen the balance beam be the be the nail in the coffin for many a Survivor player,
Yeah.
time and time again. So that's some rough stuff for sure. As Tiffany has a tough challenge here. And granted, kind of almost redeemed by the fact that Liana is literally a torpedo in the water. That was
Liana's a
some
beast.
that
Liana, wow.
yeah, that was some incredible stuff. Like
And
Liana was absolutely insane.
Liana gallops like on her feet across that balance beam. She does not need to do the shimmy method. She literally sprints across it. And Liana really almost brought it back for the yellow tribe, which and Tiffany was on that beam, just so everyone else knows. The other 2 tribes had finished, like, and had
Yeah.
moved on to the puzzle portion. And Tiffany was like halfway across the beam still. Her on her first go, because of course you fall off, you have to go back to the beginning of just the beam portion, thank God. Um and kind of start again. Tiffany fell quite a few times. One of which, I'm sorry, I just have to say this, and I wasn't there, so I don't know what she was thinking. There was a particular fall where she looked like she was going to try to cross it on foot. She just jumped off. Like, I just don't, I don't understand. And again, I wasn't there. Maybe the wind blew the wrong way. I don't know. To me, it looked like she just jumped off.
Yeah, it was tough. She talks about like, yeah, like, my shorts were riding up and it made it very uncomfortable to move across the
My thighs
platform,
were
which
scraping. Yeah, and I was like,
honestly, that's a
well,
vibe.
no, honestly, like I just listen. I feel bad. I'm sure they were scraping, but like you're on Survivor. I would have just said to myself, like, all right, you can cry about this later. You got to get across this beam, like, come hell or high water. And granted, she did get across. She did finish, so I got to give her credit for that. Um, and thankfully her teammate, like I said, almost pretty much brought it all the way back for them. So
Yeah, almost redeemed. Almost redeemed, but it is going to be the Ua tribe and the Luvu tribe that make it out on top here. And again, very, very impressive performance from both tribes. The Luvu tribe looking real good. So we're going to spend a lot of time here with the yellow tribe. And again, the only other thing of note here is that Xander tries to, drop his Winter Soldier catchphrase, only to be laughed at by his fellow contestants because nobody has found the clues yet.
So I've
But
heard I've
yes,
heard kind of as I was reading on for those of you who don't know Entertainment Weekly, they do great recaps. Right in the recap, it has apparently been confirmed Xander will have to say that every single challenge. The same the same phrase.
Oh my god, it's like categories or something, or like charades. It's
Right.
so funny.
So I really hope for his sake somebody else at least kind of finds an idol next time.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot to say that maybe both other tribes will, but hopefully at least one. Super quick before we spend all of the rest of the episode with the Yase tribe, there is another moment where Luvu gets to pick someone from Yase, and then the other person could either be from Luvu or the Ua tribe, and they're on a boat and they're going to the mountain. Essentially, it's a rehash of what happened the first episode with risking or saving your vote. However, now it is Evie and Deshaun, I believe.
Yes. Deshaun picks Evie to go on the journey, and well, the Luvu tribe picks Evie, and then Deshaun volunteers himself to go. So
Yeah, so it was good. What I liked here is and Evie and Deshaun kind of form a little alliance here.
yeah, again, we see kind of the same hero's journey here. I was very surprised that they just kind of like went for the same. They went for the same sort of thing here.
Right,
It's fine. You know, at least we're not gonna have to watch them like hike up the mountain and pretend that we care.
right.
But yeah. Listen, I gotta say, I am very impressed with how uh. What was I? I totally just lost my train of thought for a second.
No, you're
But
fine.
yeah,
I mean, Evie, and maybe this is what you were going to talk about. Evie kind of really capitalizes on the moment and said, "Hey, I need my vote tonight. I'm
yes.
keeping my vote safe. If you want to risk yours and get an extra vote, like have at it." Which I think kind of puts Evie in a really strong position should they make the merge because they're already kind of helping people out that they may have to play with later down the line.
Yes, and I just remembered what I was going to say.
Oh, good.
I love that. Even maybe let's say that we don't swap this season. Okay,
Sure.
let's say that we continue down until a tribe is completely eviscerated, a la Palau. What I find most interesting is that they're at least, if we're not going to get a scenario where you have we're not going to get a swap. At least we have the instances of being able to watch these tribe members interact with each other via
Mm-hmm.
the prisoner's dilemma.
Right.
So we see Evie and Deshaun spend a lot of time with each other. We see Deshaun talk about his journey in becoming a doctor and how he really wanted to make a difference in life and stuff. And I thought that was really interesting stuff. And again, we see also the valuable power of information, where
Mm-hmm.
Evie is forming cross tribal alliances with Deshaun, maybe like, oh, hey, listen, like, there's an idol that you're going to find it. You're going to have to say this catchphrase to activate it. So,
Yeah.
so just know that Xander found the idol. And so he's really, really powerful right now. So again,
Can I?
Evie even says, they have no problem
Yeah.
sharing information if it's other people's information.
Right. And so something that probably my favorite part of this little package here that we got of them on the mountain, this tickled me. I can't even lie. I laughed so hard. Deshaun talks about growing up and how his father instilled the three D's in him. It's like discipline, dedication, and then something else. And there is a singular voiceover from Deshaun's father. And it just says, remember the three D's. And it's like echoing. And that tickled me. I can't even tell you how much I enjoyed that. So I like this season that they're kind of like we talked about going the extra mile with these at home packages and really, really kind of making us like it's very immersive to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the edit, the story packages have been great. It's just, again, make me care about these people, because no one, let's be honest, nobody remembers the first like 3 or 4 boots of Survivor, like,
No,
unless they like make like a difference, unless you're like Kelly Wentworth and you come back in a second season and like do really well, or
right,
like Natalie Cole, you're just like so unbearable to live with, like you just make like
right.
a huge difference. So I think there's just a lot of instances where these people are just not very memorable, and they're really, these people in a short amount of time are making an impact. So Evie again shares that they can't risk their vote. It's too risky for them to do so. So
Hmm.
they end up saving their vote. Deshaun risks his, so he's going to get an extra vote. And then we get back to the dilemma of what's happening back in the camp, and we watch Tiffany almost completely melt down here.
Yet Tiffany is scrambling, harder than I've ever seen most survivors scramble. Tiffany, she's so essentially what happens is Evie, very forthcoming with the women on this tribe, tells them about the idol, tell them exactly how it works, because I guess we find out that Xander actually showed Evie the letter itself. So Evie knows everything about the idol. And Evie kind of tries to explain to Tiffany, hey, I know how the idol works. Xander can't use it. Let's get rid of Xander. Tiffany decides to totally disregard the fact that Evie has seen the parchment itself and says, no, no, there's no way. Like, he's going to play the idol. We're screwed. I'm going home. So that's a interesting moment. I was very, very frustrated at my TV at that point. I don't know how you felt about that.
It was incredibly frustrating. Like, this was definitely a yell at my TV type
Hmm.
moment where, again, like, this is I don't know how much it is. I don't know. It's really hard to explain because it's like so much of this is like, there's only a finite amount of ways this can go. It's either like Xander's going to go home, or then eventually, the target eventually switches over to Voce and then back to Tiffany again, where it's like, they have the inside information. Evie has seen the parchment. She's read the clue. And yet
Right.
Tiffany's just like, but what if he's lying? And I'm just like,
Right.
I understand this is a game where, like, you have to be deceitful to people. You have to, you can't trust them. At what point is this? If you can't trust your own alliance, I hope, and I'm worried for Evie here, because I'm worried that this tribe is not going to win anything. I think they're anticipating a swap.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to get that swap. I think this tribe's going to continue to lose, and I think Evie you might be in some real trouble here because they
Evie
just,
could very well be the tribe of one.
yes, it's not looking great for them right now.
Which is unfortunate because Evie, phenomenal player they've shown thus far.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
great. Granted, like, let's be real. A lot of this is hyperbolic. I could be
right.
talking out of my ass. They could,
We don't know.
yeah, they could go on a stretch and win these next, however many challenges, but they might live to, we're just gonna go to the vote here. Rip the story of David Voce. Voce is blindsided here at
Yeah.
this tribal council. And
And
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Xander and Voce really had no clue. They had zero inkling that this was going to happen.
I don't know.
Um,
Xander looked like he took it pretty well. I feel like he might have known that this could potentially be happening.
well, and I said this while I was watching it. If you're in Xander's position, what are you going to do? You're going to
Yeah.
freak out. Are you going to freak out when you're in the minority?
So I'm
You know,
curious because I'm curious about something. If Xander doesn't have a vote, can he still use his die? I guess not.
I Well, I don't know because no, because what would the risk be? Because when you use the die, you don't have a vote.
Ah, this is true. Okay, yeah, you're
So
right.
I don't think they would let him say, "Well, I don't have a vote anyway." And I don't think they would. Survivor producers sometimes let them get away with a lot. I think they would put their foot down there and say, "No, no, no, you can't use this die risk free." Because I think that's kind of the way the die works. Like this season is all about losing things.
Right. That does make
Um,
that does make a lot of sense.
and it kind of seems like that's like the unwritten, unspoken theme of the season is loss.
This
You
is
know,
true.
like
Yeah.
you can win a lot, but you can lose a lot. There's a lot of vote risking. There's a lot of resources. Oh, Yellow Tribe once again does not have a flint. In this
Yeah.
episode, I hope they win something to get their flint back because that's just very sad. Otherwise, they're gonna have to start learning how to make fire with two sticks. That they're struggling for sure. Xander even said at the challenge he woke up delusional.
Yeah.
They're struggling.
Yeah, it's rough out here for the Red Tribe. So again, it's rough because Tiffany definitely could have potentially, like, sealed them choosing to keep Tiffany could potentially, like, completely change the matrix of the
Yeah,
season because
I don't know about that one.
yeah, like, if they chose to blindside Xander, that's fine. Like, at least you still have Voce, who I believe is a better, physical threat than Xander is.
Hmm.
But choosing to keep Tiffany again is you're down two people. Your tribe's going to be considerably weaker in a lot of these areas. So, Liana and Evie could very much have just completely blown up their game by choosing to align themselves with Tiffany over Xander and
Right.
Voce. And granted, Xander can still choose to play with them. I don't know. Xander isn't really in a position to where he can control a lot of what's happening right now. I think
Right.
he's pretty much at the mercy of whatever the rest of his tribe wants to do.
Well,
So.
and something to keep in mind here too, because I'm almost positive with the way idols work, this is what would have happened. If Xander would have went home, that idol probably would have gotten hit on the island again.
That's true. It's very true.
Considering all three phrases have to align and the stars have to align in order for them all to be unlocked, I feel like it's like a video game accomplishment. Do this to unlock this.
It's so stupid.
So, I feel like if Xander went here, potentially we could have seen, Evie or even Tiffany with an idol.
Yeah. And Tiffany got very close to almost finding that idol.
Yeah, she was right there. She was right there.
She's literally right there. So it's rough. It's rough stuff. So let's talk a little bit about the trials and tribulations of David Voce. Voce was someone who we talked about in our pregame season preview. Voce was either going to do really well or he was going to eat dog shit. So
I mean, he not really, but here's the thing: it wasn't really any fault of his own.
Yeah, and I feel kind of bad for him. Like he
Yeah.
really talked up a big game. You can tell he's a big fan of the greater Survivor community. He makes reference to a lot of the podcasts and a lot of the other people. Amongst the greater Survivor community is like some of his inspirations for how he wants to play. And instead, he goes out here as a third boot Andy, and you feel kind of bad for him because, like you said, it really wasn't any fault of his own. He just kind of was there because Tiffany was paranoid.
Right. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or the wrong place at the right time, however you want to spin it. He was there. It could have been insert other castaway here in his position and they probably would have gone home. It's unfortunate because he obviously at the tribal council, he has a conversation with Jeff about his mother, how she instilled with him to work hard. He's very, very smart. You can tell mentally. And so it sucks because I would have liked to see Voce kind of on some of the later challenges, especially those like individual puzzles post merge. I think he would have done super well. But also hard to be attached to him. We didn't see much of him.
Yeah, Voce was very invisible for these first few, these first two episodes. You didn't really get to do a lot. I'm gonna miss the memes. There's a lot of like hot like Leonard Hotstutter from the Big Bang Theory jokes going around. I think he sounded a little bit too much like Ben Shapiro for me to really root for him. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. No.
I mean, there was definitely an attitude there that I didn't like. He didn't really have it come out too much, but you could tell it was there.
Yeah, he wanted to be the villain. He was very vocal in his pregame press. He wanted to be a villain, and instead, he's gonna go down in like probably one of the most like memorable vote outs. Like the first boot, you at least have like the perk of being the first boot. Everyone's gonna remember who you are. But
right.
like I couldn't tell you like who like the third, second, fourth
could not tell you.
Survivor season. It's not like
so
it ain't
unfortunate.
Easy. Yeah, it's rough.
That's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So
yeah, I'm not. It sucks. I was hoping we'd see more of Voce. I am instead, wondering what if and who knows. Maybe they'll bring him back. They've brought back first boots before. It's not unheard of. I would.
They've brought back more obscure people. So
yeah, they've brought back worse all stars. That's for damn sure. So.
And I think probably what they will do from now on. I'm thinking if this is the quote unquote new era of Survivor. I think all of our returners from now on will be from 41 plus.
I agree. I hope not, though, because there's still so many people I want to see play again.
So. I agree. No, there's definitely some icons I want to see play again. But if it does go 41 plus, I think Voce is kind of a good one to bring back. They do oftentimes like to give people second chances. Wasn't there even like a Survivor second chances season?
There was a fan vote. Yeah. And I think that's a thematic they should go back to. I'm going to miss that. But nonetheless, so that's it for David Voce. We are now down to 15 people left. So again, there's a great opportunity for a mix up here. I don't know what they're going to do. Do we see? Let me see. Yeah, it's 18, 17, 16.
We could, after this next vote out, do a 7-7 even split.
This is true. Yeah, I think if we don't get a merge, not a merge, a swap this episode, we might get one the next episode. Because again, with how fast the season's going, I don't know when they're going to merge. You know what I mean? They usually merge
Yeah,
at.
no, I
They've
don't.
been merging at 13 of these Survivor seasons. Maybe we'll go back to like a 10-person merge again. I doubt it'll get that far because I feel like there's not going to be a lot of game left to play.
No, and super interested to see kind of how they handle that post merge with how fast this game has been moving. I don't know, just super interested. I think if they could do it right, if the pacing is correct. Um, so I don't know. I hope we kind of get some more time to get attached to some of these people because, like you said, there's definitely people we still don't know. Um,
For sure. Yeah, yeah. There's
so
there's there's still there's a lot of purple edits here for sure. Um,
yeah.
but again, I think that's also the product of 3 tribes, a lot of stuff that they have to account for in a season. So
Hmm.
again, all the more reason for 90-minute episodes. So
Right, especially if they're going to be doing these shorter seasons, I am all for the 90-minute episodes.
yeah, but yeah. Any other thoughts on episode 2 here before we wrap things up?
A kind of an obscure thought that really just goes with the television broadcast. What was that preview for next week that was like previewed nothing at all?
These previews kind of suck. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like.
Like,
I don't like how they're like. Jeff doesn't even say previously on Survivor anymore. Like, has
no, and these previews gave like no inkling as to what was going to happen next episode.
yeah,
There was nothing. I was like, okay, they showed me a bunch of random scenes that like don't even make sense to me, and then it was over, and I was like, well, all right, I'll see you guys next week. Like, I have no clue what's going to happen, but
yeah.
so
It was definitely a tough draw for sure. So,
hopefully
um,
the previews get better as we go on because I'm a preview fan of, and that's pretty much every television show. I like to get excited for the next week so I have something to look forward to. um so I kind of hope selfishly that these previews get a little better.
yeah,
um
I'm with you. They need to get better here. So, ah, man, I'm just so excited to be excited about Survivor again.
I know. No, I feel I will say personally the first episode I was a little lukewarm to it, but the second one had me right back in. So
Yeah, no. So I'm excited for what season 3 has in store. Again, I protect Nasir, protect Shan, protect Evie. That's it. That's all I
yeah,
care
that
about.
that's pretty much I wish I could say protect Brad, but he's probably going to shoot himself in the foot somehow. So can't save someone from
If Brad
themselves.
makes it to the merge, it's the only way Brad makes it to the merge, in my opinion, is if the green tree if Ua wins out, and I don't know if that's
Yeah,
gonna
they
happen
just
or not.
trample everyone. Who knows? Unfortunately, this is still at the end of the day a TV show. I do not see Blue Tribe steamrolling the whole thing pre-merge. They will probably lose a person or two in the upcoming weeks. Um, and then we'll just kind of go from there, see who's left. Definitely. I mean, I could think some people on the Blue Tribe we haven't even really talked to yet.
Yeah,
um,
I would love to see some more of these like purpler edits, but
yeah.
we'll see what's in store next time. But Shannon, let the people know where they can find you if they choose are so inclined to do so.
Yes, I'm on Twitter. I'm usually tagged in the post of these things at underscore shenanigans. I do photography again. Feel free to message me about that. I would love that. I am private. Feel free to follow me. I will probably accept you. Just kind of private for my own reasons. I thought about starting to stream again. Perhaps next week I will be plugging my Twitch. Tune in to find out.
Hey, love that for us. But yeah, you guys can follow me at Koopa NJ across platforms. When I'm not talking about reality television, I'm an esports commentator and a podcast host on other things. So check me out across there. I will be on your Twitch screens, your phone screens, your other screens very soon. So definitely check all that stuff out. We'll see you guys next week for a review of episode 3 of Survivor season 41. So stay tuned, folks.
All right, guys. Bye. Thank you.